Hey, welcome to Mind Your Own Biz, the podcast where we help small business owners with big dreams build something authentically you. I'm Alicia Yervis, educator, marketer, designer, nacho enthusiast, and your big sister in business. I'm excited for us to have this cozy spot to chat. Each episode, we'll tackle candid conversations, actionable tips, and a few fun tangents to help you run your business your way. Because business is always personal, no matter what anyone says. So grab your iced coffee or those nachos, and let's get started. Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of Mind Your Own Biz. My name's Alicia Yervis, and I'm your host for this podcast. I'm very happy to have you here. I'm filming a solo episode today because lately I have been getting more questions and just seeing the vibe online of, people are struggling with social media content in terms of, I don't know what to say. I'm sick of saying the same thing over and over again. No one's engaging on my stuff. No one's paying attention to my stuff. The world is so crazy. I feel like I have nothing to say. And I don't want to be tied up with creating, tons and tons of content, every single day. Like I'm trying to run a business here. Hello. And I just know that we're often, stuck, right? We're staring at a blank screen. We're trying to figure out what to say. And so this particular episode is going to be a quick win to help get some ideas flowing for you. And the cool thing about this kind of mini training, or not really a training, but just kind of a mini uh, uh, tip show, um, is that you can kind of rinse and repeat. These ideas and change it each time. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute, which means that you can get fresh ideas over and over again. So you can use this on days when you have low energy, when you're just being a potato and you don't have time to think through something more elaborate. Or you could just use this as your roadmap, and like use these tips every single week. So what I'm going to be doing on this episode is walking you through an existing guide that I have. I've had it for several years now. It's popular. It's free. You can grab it at the show notes for this episode. It's called 7 Go-To Topics for Social Media. My 7 go-to topics for social media. So it's a free guide. You can download a hard copy of it if you'd like, but I'm going to bring you through the guide today and kind of expand on the examples and give you some ideas and just kind of get things flowing. And because there's 7 topics, you could literally use this 7 days a week and just do it again the next week with different examples for each topic. So you'll see what I mean in a minute. So again, if you want to grab a hard copy of this list to keep on hand, just head to the show notes and grab that freebie. Okay. So social media for business, right? We're all business owners, solopreneurs, or maybe you're getting ready to start your business. Maybe it's, you're still dreaming about it. But this episode is going to help you kind of think through how to bring more of yourself into your content and how to take your audience behind the scenes and story tell more in your business. So something that has always popped up over and over again in my business, whether it's, people inquiring to work with me or they're DMing me or they're asking me in one of my courses, or even my clients, for my website or my branding clients, they're just asking me like, what the heck am I supposed to post? Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do on social besides, okay, this is on sale. Okay, this event is happening. Okay, buy my thing, buy my thing. And, chances are, like, I know I've struggled with this, from time to time. Chances are you've struggled with this yourself. And so, wouldn't it be cool if you had an assortment of topics that you could rely on at a moment's notice that would instantly prompt you what to post? So, this episode is me giving you that quick win. So, this is my list of 7 go-to topics that any brand or solopreneur can use as a starting point for social media content creation. Okay, so number 1 is what I call the who, right? So we got who, what, when, where, why, and so on. So the who means your staff and your team. So it sounds simple, but it's true. People love seeing photos of other people or videos of other people. Like there's many, many ways to introduce your staff or yourself on social media. So obviously we don't all have staffs, like we don't all have assistants, we don't all have a team, but we are running the business ourselves, so we are a staff member. You know that meme that's been going around or that reel that's been going around on Instagram where it's like the opening credits from Full House, but every single character is you yourself in a different costume because you're wearing all the hats, right? So don't count yourself out if you are the staff and team, right? But there's many ways to do this on social media. So maybe if you do have a staff or team, maybe it's showing employee of the month or even showing like letting a staff member take over your Instagram stories for the day and kind of letting them steer the ship. But it's the main point I want you to get from this is being intentional about showing the team or person behind the scenes of your business because it really helps folks put a face to a name. It puts the social in social media, and that includes you yourself. So make sure you're showing the face of the brand, the face behind the brand from time to time, and introducing yourself to your followers every once in a while. An easy way to do this too is the social media hashtag Friday introductions. From time to time on Friday, I'll take the opportunity to reintroduce myself to my audience and tell them, you know, who I am, what I do, who I serve, because you're always going to be adding new folks to your audience, right? Whether that's email subscribers, social media followers, et cetera, et cetera. Not everyone is going to have seen all your content. Not everyone's going to remember where they found you or how they started following you. So take those opportunities to reintroduce or introduce for the first time you yourself and your staff and your team if you have anybody helping you. And by the way, that includes, you know, like pets. It includes, you know, if your staff and team is your, you know, your kids, your husband, your friends, your sister, your parents, you know, or maybe you have interns, maybe you have volunteers. Like all of these are different ways to show the who. Okay, moving on to the what. So here's where you can show off your products and your services. Like it sounds obvious, right? But this is the lifeblood of what you do. So simply put, you should use social media to show your stuff. So whether you're working on something you've designed, built, repaired, wrote, baked, planned, cleaned, represented, cooked, painted, prepared, carved, whatever it is, show it off proudly so people know what you do and learn why they should hire you or buy from you. Something that breaks my heart constantly, and I have done this myself, is, you know, you're behind the scenes, you're working on something, and you're like, oh, it's out in the universe, or oh, it's been shipped to my customer, it's done, you know, or I've delivered that course, it's out there. But then we're on to the next thing. We don't take a minute to sit in like the joy of the accomplishment, or to even tell people, hey, I made this thing. Now I got to tell you about it. Like so many folks I know personally, and I've done this too. Like, you know, I create a new offer or a new mini package or something like that. And it's like, what am I just expecting it to sell itself? You got to talk about this stuff, right? Like we're in business to make money. We got to talk about our stuff. And so taking the opportunity to make the mentioning of the thing, you know, the telling of the thing, like being intentional about, uh, you know, mentioning it, announcing it, showing it, promoting it, having that be a regular part of your social media marketing strategy. It's important. Be intentional. Tell people what you've got going on. Don't just make stuff and have it sitting on a shelf in your store and no one even knows that you have it, or no one even knows that you offer that service because you never announced it. You never told anybody. You know, online, I'm talking about. Maybe you have customers or patients coming in if you have a brick and mortar, and maybe you're telling them in person, but what about your email subscribers? What about your social media followers? And if you don't have a brick and mortar, like for me, I don't. I work out of my apartment, and I run a, you know, 99% online business. Same goes for your digital shelves. Don't let stuff sit on your digital shelves and collect digital dust. Like it all needs its opportunity to shine. So making sure that, okay, every single time I launch a new thing or I make a new thing or I create or put something on sale every single time, I need to tell people about it. And it might sound like obvious, but so many people don't do that part regularly. So I'm encouraging you to do that. And for a pro tip on this one, you can also use customer reviews and testimonials to reinforce what you're saying and showing. Because this adds like even more authority and social proof to your brand. So like if you are announcing a new service or a new event or you have a new package or some new widget or something that you created or made, and you have happy customers who have worked with you in the past on that thing or on a similar thing or you know um any kind of buyer reviews or whatever, like use those to say like, hey, listen, I know my shit, like this customer is so happy, and listen to what they had to say, because I believe what's always going to be more powerful than you speaking about your business is having others speak about your business, like what others say about it is just going to be more powerful. So that's a way to utilize that too. So if you've got awesome Google reviews or people are emailing you or texting you or DMing you, like they're, so happy about their results or whatever, like ask them if it's cool if you share that. Okay, moving on to the when. So this would be like events and promos. So if you, it's funny because I'm reading this as I'm talking to you guys. So that's why it said read. Um, so when I said events and promos, if you immediately thought like, ugh, I don't want to be too selly, not to worry. So you can spread the word about what your business has to offer without that cringiness or fear of scaring away potential clients or customers. So if you have like a collaboration coming up or a fun local event, maybe you can post hints on your social media. Maybe you can post some sneak peeks and works in progress, kind of behind the scenes type stuff of like the preparations and, the process for getting everything ready. This gets your followers excited for it and feels like they're involved. So you can post about if you're having a sale, if you're offering a big discount for something, maybe you're doing like a virtual sidewalk sale. I'm going to be doing one of those this summer. Um, discounts, promotions, all that kind of stuff. You can do it tastefully by not doing it all the time. So maybe try 2 to 3 times in the month before your promotion or your sale is live. And there's nothing worse than finding out about a fun event after it's already happened. Which I've seen over and over again too. So using stories for both events and promotions, make sure to do that too. And remember, like so many of your followers are really only hanging out just in stories these days. That's becoming more and more of like a thing, where they're not even scrolling all the time. So don't skip stories. Don't miss that opportunity. And plus, like, who doesn't want to know about like a good deal or like a cool, fun event? I know I do. This is something that I've seen over and over again where someone will plan, whether it's an in-person like concert, workshop, talk, festival, sale, whatever, in their shop or in their office. And maybe they sent out an email about it, but they never actually did any social media posts about it. Or maybe they posted about it one time, and didn't get great results and wondering like, why didn't anyone come to my thing? That can be the same too for like a virtual event, virtual workshop, a virtual training, webinar, certainly online courses, all that kind of stuff. You need to repeat yourself. And I talk about this in another episode about the rule of seven, where people need to be reminded about things multiple times. And you may feel like a broken record, but it doesn't mean that's how you're being perceived. That is yourself talking to yourself. That is like yourself, uh, you know, ego, self-awareness, self-embarrassment, imposter syndrome, all that kind of stuff. Because I promise you, no one is paying as much attention to your stuff as you are. And so when you're thinking like, oh, I don't want to post about that, I already posted about it. Post about it again anyway. But take that with a grain of salt with what I was saying about the sale stuff, because, if it is a buy my thing, or, um, summer sidewalk sale, blah, 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 blah. Um, you do want repetition, but you don't want to kill them with it. And so, Jenna Kutcher is an excellent online educator who I've been following for a long time. And she always talks about creating that ratio of what your content should be. And she talks about give, sell, give, sell, and figuring out what that cadence should be of promotional content versus educational content. That's for another episode, but just keep that in mind. Okay, number 4, the where. So this can be neighborhood and community. So you can rely heavily on your actual geographic region for a huge pool of content ideas. So does the area you work in have like a cool street festival this weekend? Tell your followers about it. Did a new business open up nearby? Tag them, give them a shout out. Show that collaboration and goodwill and partnership and hospitality to the new kids on the block. Also, the word community leaves much up to interpretation. So maybe you're a home-based business like me, and you don't have a brick and mortar location. Okay, so what does neighborhood and community mean? Talk about your online community of followers, your clients, fellow artisans or leaders that you take inspiration from. You could be creative with what community means, but tagging other people and giving shout outs, like that's very fun. That's cool. Or maybe you have like a free Facebook group. Maybe you have like an online membership. That could be community as well. All right, moving on. Number 5, the why. This is where you could talk about your passion and inspiration. So people want to see, read about, and connect with other people, not just look at your logo or read robotic captions. Keep it real with your audience. Share what gets you excited. Show them why you started your business. Ask questions about their passions and start a conversation. When your audience gets to know, like, and trust you, you've heard me talk about this before, they'll want to support your business and buy from you too. So if you're still stuck on how to start, think about these questions and write from there. Ready? Why do I love what I do? Is there a story about my childhood that explains the why of my business? What does the future of my business look like? Who do I love serving and why? What is my passion behind it all? What lights me up? Those are some good questions to ask. Okay, number 6, the how. This is basically behind the scenes stuff. So it's no secret that people like to feel special. So it may seem simple, but giving your audience a look behind the curtain can go a long way in creating higher interest and investment in what you're doing. So if you sell products, you could post things like an unboxing video to show your new product haul. If you're a service-based business, maybe post about how you prep for the week, what kind of client work you're chipping away at, etc. Anything that shows what's going on under the surface. And don't be afraid to show the messy side of business too. I know that lots of folks struggle with this, want everything to look polished and perfect. But when you let them see how things are imperfect and that there's always some like smoke and mirrors involved, people love that stuff too, and they can relate to it. Some of my most engaging content has been moments like that where I'm showing, something funny behind the scenes, or maybe something didn't go so great or didn't go how I expected. Like I just shared on an episode a little bit ago how I taught a webinar to a class of 0 attendees. People signed up, they just didn't come because, hopefully they watched the replay, but that was the whole thing. Like I had to deliver a replay to them because that was part of what I said it included, but no one came. So I had to teach the class to no one so I could record it and then send out the replay. So then I posted about that whole situation. Like I still showed up even though no one else did. And people were like, oh my God, so real. Like anyone who says that this has never happened to them is lying. Like, like, oh, I feel it. I've been there, so those moments create lots of engagement too. And then finally, the last one is the just for fun, basically. Don't forget about social media holidays. Like this is kind of a gimme. But of course, everyone knows the big holidays, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, whatever. But have you also seen like those fun social media holidays like, National Grilled Cheese Day, World Smile Day, Global Pet Appreciation Day, like things like that. Well, guess what? These days are great for social media engagement. Um, but you want to make sure that they somehow relate back to your brand. Like, for example, National Grilled Cheese Day would be perfect for like a restaurant or a cafe to post about. Maybe the chef could make an awesome grilled cheese, snap a pic of it, and then, maybe put it on special for the day. And, boom, in instant topical content. I wouldn't necessarily say that like, you know, I don't know, like a dog groomer would necessarily do National Grilled Cheese Day. Or maybe they could, maybe they could be creative with it. Show, dogs like sniffing while they're having a grilled cheese sandwich, and wanting a piece, whatever. There's fun ways to be creative with it. But you get what I mean. Not every social media holiday is going to be applicable to every type of business, but there's so many kinds of social media holidays, and those are fun for, when you can't think of something else to post. Okay, so that's it. So now you have these 7 go-to topics to get you started. And your homework is to brainstorm on compiling the rest of the list of unique topics relatable to your business to build out some official content pillars. And by the way, nothing is set in stone. Okay, so don't freak out. You can change things up whenever you'd like, add to it, remove from it, learn and grow. But by taking the time to think about what your company's social media content pillars will be, you're well on your way to tons of creative posts. And these can all be your starting point for less stress, more strategy, and better connection online. So if you want the full guide with, the examples and all that stuff, it's totally free. Grab it at the link in the show notes. I want you to grab it from there. And don't forget, my social media content strategy course is going to be opening its doors again soon. So if you want to create content that actually works and feels good to post, get on the waitlist at aliciayurvis.com/waitlist so you don't miss a thing when I open those doors. This is going to be the 4th cohort of this course. It's so much fun. It's 4 weeks plus some implementation time at the end. There's a private Facebook group. And we go through my 4 foundational building blocks of a social media content strategy. Everything from ideal clients to engagement and everything in between. And it's so, so much fun. It's called Content Strategy Doesn't Have to Suck. So make sure you get on the wait list. And one more thing I just want to make sure that you know. I do have, so I told you about the freebie, which you can grab in the show notes, but what I also linked in the show notes is my $7 product called the Ultimate Social Media Marketing Checklist, Expanded Bundle Edition. So here's where you can put your feet up and relax because I am about to remove a ton of your marketing stress. This is a guide that I've had out for a couple years now. Or it's not a guide, what am I saying? It's checklist. It's a checklist bundle. I've had it for a couple years now. It is my best selling resource. And this is where I'm sharing methods that I use every day for my marketing clients and in my own business as well, so that you can work smarter and not harder, and this will reduce your brain clutter. So in this bundle, you get daily tasks checklists, weekly and monthly task checklists, as well as quarterly and yearly. Plus, you're getting content calendar sheets for each month. So if you've never struggled with social media marketing, have you even lived? Like we all have, right? So we've all been there. It's so hard to know what to do, in what order, how often, and the list goes on and on and on. Things are always changing. You know how it goes. But that doesn't mean that there aren't ways to make it less overwhelming. So I designed this bundle specifically with you in mind. I know it'll help you get more views, clicks, and customers because I'm a gal who's big on checklists. It's the ADHD side of me. I need something to remind me of what stuff I need to do. Oh, and remind me of what the fuck I was just doing. That too. So these value pack checklists will help you stay on track so you can actually get a lot of your shit done. And I mean, who doesn't love to put that little check mark next to it to a task and move on to the next one? You know, a little check like complete, like it's so great for dopamine. So, like I said, I compiled your social media marketing tasks and broken them down into daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly list structures that will help you take back control of your social media presence and actually get results. Plus, it's super easy to follow and implement. This has been my most downloaded resource for years, but I knew I could make it even better. So what I ended up doing, I think it was last year or the year before, I archived the old version. I gave it a fresh coat of paint, updated the insides, added on a few more layers of awesomeness to support you in taking your social media game to the next level. So that's why we have quarterly and yearly checklists now, but I've also added printable weekly content calendar sheets. So you get a sheet for each month, January through December. You can print out anytime, write in your days and dates, and plot out your weekly content easily. You can print however many sheets you need. You're all set to fill them in. And each sheet also includes my 7 go-to topics that any business can use anytime to mix in with your own content on social media. So all the stuff I just went over on today's episode is built into these content calendar sheets. So that's fun. And it also includes quick digestible tips on what to do and when, tips and tricks on how to be present for your audience, and more. And this checklist bundle is just a simple and convenient quick win that will make your content planning so much easier throughout the whole year. It'll give you a burst of inspiration, organization, and motivation as you work towards your marketing goal of being a little more consistent and intentional so you can grow awareness and maintain visibility for your brand. And I don't throw the word ultimate in there lightly, by the way. It's called my ultimate social media checklist bundle. But I really believe these value pack checklists will be something you refer to again and again while you tackle your social media marketing efforts and plan out your content all year long. So if you want to check a whole bunch off your marketing to-do list, it's only $7. Grab that in the show notes as well. Or you can head to aliciayurvis.com/ultimate social media checklist. All right, my friends, kind of a quickie episode. But I hope this was helpful. As always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. It helps me out so much. And just remember, marketing doesn't have to be a chore. You just need the right prompts to unlock your voice and get a little help. And of course, I love ChatGPT. ChatGPT can help with all of these things, like to put you into turbo mode. So combining this with ChatGPT, forget it. You're going to be unstoppable. All right, my friend, thanks so much for being here. I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.